What's up guys, it's Tony Holiday and welcome back to the channel. Today, let's talk about music NFTs. The last few weeks, I've been taking a dive down into the rabbit hole of NFTs, blockchain technology, and specifically how it can be applied to music. Because I do see music NFTs having a future in the way that artists and creatives use technology going forward. So today, I'm going to explain the information that I've discovered over the last few weeks of NFTs, specifically in the music realm. We're going to talk about what an NFT is, how it's being applied to music and music going forward, some indie artists that have seen success with it, different tools and things in the space that I'm watching, and some resources for you so that you can keep up to date on music NFTs and learn about the space yourself as well to see what works best for you. With all that being said, let's get into the video talking about music NFTs. What is an NFT? NFT actually stands for non-fungible token. So what is a non-fungible token? You may have heard of things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that's based on something what's called a blockchain. Now, what is a blockchain? The very basics of blockchain technology is that it's an algorithm that verifies the ownership of something. This is especially useful in the digital space because it's being applied in a lot of different ways, from insurance to banking to finance, and it's very cool that it's being applied in a creative sense to artists as well. The way to think of an NFT, or a non-fungible token, is it's essentially a digital collector's item. The same way that we think about collector's items in the real world, they're worth so much because someone is willing to pay that much for it. So you can think of an NFT as like a digital Rolex or digital Pokemon cards. Anything that you can think about physically collecting, NFTs are taking that and putting it into the digital world using blockchain technology. How are NFTs being applied to music? You have probably seen CryptoPunks or Bored Apes being used in the last year or so. Those are all NFTs, and what those people are doing is they're placing them as their profile picture to show and prove that they have ownership of that. Those pictures or NFTs are seen as something of value. So it's kind of like a flex to show that you own that particular piece of art and you can verify that you own it. In the same way that you wear a certain Rolex or a vintage fashion item, it's a way to prove ownership of something digital. So how is this being applied to music? The same way that we're applying it to these pictures or JPEGs or art, we can apply that to an MP3 or WAV file on the very basic level. Now, music NFTs are being used in much more than just a WAV file or MP3 or song. Some people are using them for music videos. Some people are using them for stems. But for the sake of this, we're going to stick to just using a song. Think about the concept of ownership. Ownership in music has always been a very lucrative business. Paul McCartney very famously told Michael Jackson about how lucrative it was to own your own masters or own certain catalogs of popular songs. And Michael Jackson actually went out and bought the Beatles catalog from underneath the Beatles without them knowing. Michael Jackson made millions of dollars off the Beatles catalog, all because he owned it and the publishing rights to it. Now, this did cost a friendship between Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson, but the point of it is that owning your music is a very, very important and lucrative part of being an artist or creative. Taylor Swift is actually going back and re-recording a lot of her old songs because of a sour deal that went between her and Scooter Braun's company at the time, who purchased her masters. If people like Taylor Swift and the Beatles are telling you how important ownership is, that gives you a great incentive to see that music NFTs are a very powerful tool, especially for indie creators and artists. This is where NFTs come in. Artists and creatives are finally able to own their art and sell it for a profit and actually win with their fans and other people that have supported them from the beginning. So here's some ways that music NFTs are going to be applied that I think are going to be very, very useful. Number one, access for superfans. I'm sure everyone can relate to this, where they discovered an artist before their friends or before many people knew about it. They were listening to them for a long time, and then maybe a year later or so, everybody else seems to be listening to that artist too. Now with NFTs, you can actually have a way to prove that you've been a fan of that artist for longer than everybody else has, and you can have a vested interest in their career. I actually remember finding demo tapes of The Weeknd back on music blogs in 2011. I still have them on a hard drive somewhere, but can you imagine if The Weeknd had released something like an NFT at that time that I had purchased? The Weeknd is now one of the biggest artists in the world. At the time of this video, he is the third most streamed artist on Spotify. He's played events like the Super Bowl as a solo artist. He's been a force in the music industry ever since the early 2010s. Imagine if I had purchased an NFT from him before he even had his first mixtape, House of Balloons. Obviously, because I'm a fan, that would be a very cool collector's item to have. But at the time, he also didn't have a lot of money to be doing the things that he does now. So having an NFT, he could have provided certain perks, which would have been useful to me as a fan, and he could see some money right away to start his career. That brings us to the second point of music NFTs as well. Supporting artists directly as opposed to supporting their labels, where the artists see a trickle down of the revenue that they receive. In a traditional record label model, the artist is signed by the label, they produce music, the record label uses their distribution to get that artist seen and different things like that so the artist can grow. But artists now are using social media to create their own distribution. So if you have the distribution for your social media, you should be using something like music NFTs in order to get paid for it. You don't need a record label anymore. You can grow your own social following based on who you are as a creative. If people like who you are, they're going to follow you. It's free for them to do that. And eventually they're going to become fans where they want to support you. NFTs are a great way to support an artist directly, and you can have the win with them as they grow. The very cool part of this as well is, let's say you buy an NFT from an artist at a very early stage in their career. For the sake of this, we're going to use fiat currency. You purchase an NFT for a song for $100 from an artist. That artist over the next 10 years grows 10x, and now that NFT is worth $1,000 US. You decide that you want to sell this NFT, and you have every right to do so because the concept of ownership, you own that NFT. Now, when you sell the NFT, the artist can put certain clauses in there that they actually benefit from the later sale. This is especially cool because if you sell that now for $1,000, let's say the artist put a clause of 20%. 20% of that sale is going to go back to the original artist. This is a very cool concept because it stops people from scalping and taking stakes in things early on without a vested interest. Or at least if they do, the original artist, the person that has been working to get their career going higher and higher, will see a payment from that and benefit from it as well. So you just turned that $100 US that you initially invested into an NFT for an artist that just started, and you sold it for $1,000. 200 of that goes to the artist who has been working for you for the last 10 years to get their career off the ground and become popular, and you just made a successful investment, pocketing $800 with your initial $100 investment. That's pretty cool. And it's a cool way for artists and fans to grow together and want to win together. At the end of the day, if the artist is doing the work to gain distribution, i.e. social media, they should be getting paid for it with music NFTs. And reason number 3 why I think music NFTs are a really cool space going forward is helping create better relationships between artists and fans. Think previously what you would have to do in order to have a vested interest in an artist and really let them know how you feel about their career and how you want to support it. You would probably have to purchase a backstage pass to one of their concerts, where you'd maybe get 2-3 minutes to hang out with them. Hey, how's it going? Great show. Can I get a hug? Can I get a selfie? Boom, that's it. They maybe do 50 of those backstage that night, and they don't even remember your face or your name. With the NFT purchase, you can actually see how long you've been a fan for. A real world case of this is the crypto research firm Delphi Digital purchased the disclosure face from Guy Lawrence one time on a live stream. It was around $140,000 US for the original disclosure face that they put on all their album covers, a lot of their singles, yada yada, things like that. It gave them 4 free tickets to any disclosure show in the future, anywhere in the world. That's a pretty cool perk to have. But it gets better. The best part about this is they actually have developed a personal relationship. They ended up meeting him at a conference. They asked if he wanted to DJ their house party. So not only did they get 4 tickets going forward to any disclosure show, they're both growing together as that NFT increases in value. I do realize that maybe Guy Lawrence is an outlier and he's just a really, really nice guy. And this is kind of up to the artist. Just because they sell you an NFT doesn't mean they want to be best friends. We now know what an NFT is and how it's going to be applied to music, or how it's already been applied to music. But what about some indie artists that have seen success with this? These are some people that I've found that have seen success with NFTs already in the music space, and I think there's going to be a lot more of this going forward. Latasha, a hip-hop artist from Brooklyn, New York, sold her music video Go Go Wine for 13 ETH as an NFT. Pussy Riot sold some of their audio-visual work for 100 ETH. Ivan Inglor raised 20 ETH as a crowdfund for his new album Danger Zone. Halik Mal raised 81 ETH from 5 different sales of his minted songs as NFTs. Daniel Allen, who raised 49 ETH to help crowdfund his album Overstimulated. Each of these artists individually have made sales with music NFTs that has helped benefit their career massively. And this is only a fraction of the people that have seen success with it so far. I'm interested to see where this goes, especially for creative and indie artists that don't have much of a big following yet. However, they are talented enough to go far in the music industry and make it a lifelong career. That leads us to tools in the space. There are hundreds, if not thousands of tools in the space of music NFTs, and they're being created every day. People are seeing opportunities that have previously presented themselves in Web 2 and older technologies and now converting them to Web 3. I'm not going to try to go over all of the major tools that are being used. One thing I do want to say is there have been 2 tweets that have really helped me out in terms of looking up new tools. Number 1 is from Cooper Turley, or Koopa Troopa, and he made this tweet, which gave a nice overview of the music NFT landscape. And the second one is by Caspar, who also gave a bit of a story in a thread on Twitter, and he put out this tweet, which gave a similar view to the music NFT landscape as well. Now, my recommendation is to analyze these 2 tweets, go into the spaces and the different apps that look interesting to you, join the Discord, read their white paper, and discover what they do and if you can use them. That's how we're going to build this space, is people actually being actively interested. Now, that being said, I have found a couple tools that I am keeping my eye on, and I'll share them with you now, and you might be interested in that as well. Number 1 is Future Tape. Does everybody remember Hype Machine from back in the day? Future Tape is exactly like Hype Machine, except it's made for Web3 music. It's created by the same creator as Hype Machine. I frequently go on there to see new tracks that are listed, different exchanges, and just discover new artists that are posting themselves in the Web3 space for music. LimeWire. Everybody remembers their favorite virus collector, LimeWire, but it seems like they're really serious about making a big move into NFTs. Audius. Audius is a Web3 music streaming service. So think Apple Music, Spotify, but a blockchain version. Artists are paid in Audius tokens, which they can then exchange for fiat currency, things like that. Now, as I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg for music NFTs, and I've only spent the last week or 2 actually exploring the space, but I do have lots of resources that I want to share with you guys that are great for you to learn more and also take initiative to try and better your knowledge about the space of music NFTs. Here's some people that you should follow. Sherry Hu. Sherry writes the Water and Music newsletter, which I've been a fan of for a long time. They've moved into the blockchain space and they do lots of great deep dives on tech and music. Highly recommend following her on Twitter and signing up for the Water and Music newsletter. Koopa Troopa on Twitter. Now, Cooper Turley is a veteran in the music NFT space. He writes a Week in Music NFTs, which drops every Monday. That's like an overview of a lot of music NFTs and things that happened in the past week. And he's a very active supporter and very vocal on Twitter about the space. Web3 Brett on Twitter really posts some great information and is an active person in the space. The very accomplished music producer Blau, someone who's very active in the music NFT space and one of the founders of Royal. It's a platform that allows artists to sell their songs and then purchasers will receive royalties of those songs in the future. Blau is at the forefront of this space and has been for a long time, and it's very cool to see a producer side of it and what he's posting about. Last but certainly not least, Delphi Digital, the crypto research firm. Highly recommend following them and signing up for the newsletter to get info on not just music NFTs, but lots of things that are going on in crypto. They also have a great video, which was also one of the inspirations for me making this video, a bull case for music NFTs. Check that one out in the description below as well. Some videos and content worth watching. A bull case for NFTs by Delphi Digital. Music NFTs GMI by Blockchain Brett. What are music NFTs by CoinDesk. And the 2 tweets that I mentioned about looking for resources and new tools to use. To conclude everything that I've said, guys, music NFTs are without a doubt a space that's worth watching. I think they have a great future for creatives and artists going forward, especially in the music space. And I think that if you get onto it early, you could really take advantage of it as an artist and also use it to gain some lifelong fans or connect with people that really fuck with your music. Because it's such a new space, I do see a lot of the transactions being taken place by people that are active in the space. They want this space to grow and work. A lot of the prices that are also being used to be collections are quite high for maybe people trying to just get into it. I think when the prices become more readily available for the everyday person to access, that's when we're going to see a big wave of music NFTs. While everybody recognizes that Spotify and Apple Music aren't paying their artists properly, I don't see a ton of people converting from that because they only pay $9.99 per month for a collection of every single one of their favorite songs ever. I think that, again, when we see more of an access point for the everyday person that really benefits them, that's when we're going to see a big wave for music NFTs. With all that being said though, technologies and innovation always have to start somewhere. And I'm really thankful for all the investors and people that are spending big money in this space trying to make it happen, because I truly do think it's going to be beneficial for creatives and for artists. I'm excited to see where this space goes. I'll be keeping a close eye on it, so you can check here for updates. But for now, I just wanted to share my thoughts on what I've discovered in the last few weeks. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel. I'm always putting out new videos, especially to do with music production and tech. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at It's Tony Holiday and TikTok Tony.Holiday. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.